Welcome into PFF. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, the host of PFF's 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. We are continuing our draft profile series, bringing up Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, number 2 on PFF's latest draft board. Where are you at with him? Give me an overview right now. I know the injury is huge, but talk to me about the player as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't start talking about Tua Tagovailoa without bringing up that injury, because it is, it's kind of that asterisk next to his name that's going to follow him right up till draft time or until, a doctor says he's fully 100% cleared and ready to go, because it is that serious of an injury. It could, at any point in time, jeopardize his entire football career. So from that perspective, we're not doctors. We're going to go with the on-field. The on-field evaluation. The on-field evaluation says this guy's a franchise type of quarterback. He had a 90.3 passing grade this past year, 90.7 passing grade back as a sophomore. That's what passing grades we've just never seen from guys in the SEC. It's just too difficult to get through that schedule, those defenses that you have to face at passing at an elite level the way he did. And I think you have to go back to the fact that he did it as a sophomore. He was so young. So many guys, even Joe Burrow doing it, the light switch flips on as a redshirt senior. He's been doing it every single year, every single game dating back to that freshman year in the national championship. We've only seen him play really good football. And so I think that's very valuable, and that the arrow for his sort of career should be looking up. You could see even his best football being ahead of him.
Earning 90-plus PFF passing grades from back-to-back seasons in the SEC, as young as he was, is honestly incredible. The injury, obviously the asterisk there, but the player, absolutely fantastic. Let's dive into those specific pros for Tua Tagovailoa. Very accurate decision-making there. Doesn't have the arm strength, but everything else, you kind of check those boxes.
Yeah, I think the two biggest pros for him are his accuracy and his pocket presence. On throws 10-plus yards down the field back in 2018, he was accurate on 55.5% of them. That was the second best season we saw heading into this year. Obviously, Joe Burrow sure shattered that and sort of changed the game in that regard, but still his accuracy was on the level of Baker Mayfield's of the world, dating back to their college careers. And I think the pocket presence, the other big one, only 12.5% of pressures in his career he's converted to sacks. Only 7 quarterbacks in college football had better rates this past year, and that's for his entire career. He's been very good at not taking sacks and avoiding pressure in the pocket and still being able to work that offense in that regard. So those are his two biggest pros, and those are probably the two biggest places you want to be successful at when projecting to the NFL. I don't really care if you have a huge arm, if your pocket presence sucks, and anytime you feel pressure, you crumble. That has not been Tua Tagovailoa. He has been excellent in that regard. Let's
get to the cons. Obviously, the injury is kind of something that has been pushed him down a bit from a draft stock perspective, but there are also some cons in his game on the field that will kind of pull some GMs back from pushing him all the way up.
Yeah, it's difficult to separate his performance from that of the guys around him. He has, feasibly could have 4 wide receivers go in the first round, at least first, second, or third round will end up happening. 2 starting offensive tackles are likely to be first-round picks at some day. So it's difficult to say, and we try to isolate that as much as we can here at PFF in our charting, in our grading, but you're never going to be able to separate the talent around him from the guy himself. And so that's obviously, did he elevate the talent around him, or did the talent around him elevate Tagovailoa? That's always difficult to say. Will obviously be a worse situation no matter where he goes in the NFL next season. And I think the middling arm, also an issue. Didn't have a pass that traveled over 50 yards down the field, and his longest pass, it was picked off. And he does float some balls down the football field, so that's going to be an issue. And I think you have to look at the injury and the injury history. He had this, the hip, not just the hip, but the ankle the year before that. So it has a sort of pattern of getting hurt. And the last one is just kind of stagnating production. We mentioned the grades. He didn't keep going upward in his grading trajectory after his sophomore year to his junior year. Some of that was they didn't need him to. They didn't need him to push the ball down the football field. But we'd like to see, that steady upward arrow when projecting to the NFL.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, I want to bring up with Tagovailoa is that they didn't ask him to kind of get aggressive with the football until maybe that LSU game and some other games down the road before that injury. But I think that's something that people will bring up in this evaluation process. I got to get to a player comp for this guy. I think that he's a very exciting player. I think he has some mobility, very accurate with the football. From a player comp perspective in the NFL, where are you with Tua?
He's tough. I go back and forth on the player comps for him, but I think I settled on Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons in terms of throws with anticipation, throws with accuracy, makes up for the fact that he doesn't have a great arm with those decision-making, with those pocket presence, does all the quarterback-y things that you need to do at a very high level.
Which is a good thing to have being doing well.
Exactly. So I I think Matt Ryan's a fair comp for him, but again, I don't think there's one that's really great, and he has a little bit more mobility than Matt Ryan.
All right, bottom line's kind of tough with him. I mean, with the injury, it could go a number of ways for him on draft night. Where do you see his floor from a production standpoint in the NFL, and where do you see him going when it's all said and done?
I think bottom line, he's a franchise quarterback prospect if healthy. If your doctors clear him, draft him wherever, as highly as you possibly can, go up and get him if need be. If you're one of those teams in the top 10 that needs a quarterback, I think he is that good, and I think he offers something far more than, after Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa, he offers far more than the rest of this quarterback class. So the bottom line with him is clear the hip injury and take him as high as you want.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.